And now, from the great state of Mississauga in Ontario, Canada, it's the Ted Woloshyn Podcast. Brought to you by ETP Canada, providing estate administration with ease. ETP Canada. And Tom's Place, for the finest in men's fashion. Tom's Place will suit you. And now, here's Ted.
And welcome once again to another episode of the Ted Woloshyn Podcast. Thank you for joining us. My special guest this day has been described as a trailblazer. He is a three-time Juno Award nominee, musician, producer, band leader of the J. Douglas All-Star Band, and is the star of an outstanding documentary titled Play It Loud, How Toronto Got Soul.
Whoa, yeah. That a go on. Everywhere you turn, I be a destruction a go on. Fire, flood, famine for the land. You don't see what go on. Wars after wars, that a go on. How I go on, J. Douglas?
For the world is trouble.
We need to fix it.
And living ain't easy.
Come together, make it.
World is trouble.
We are gonna fix it.
You got to believe
Come
it.
together, make it.
World is trouble.
We can fix it.
And living ain't easy. Said the world is trouble.
See it from afar.
You got to believe it.
Global warning, ramping destruction, spreading like a firestorm. Only Jah can come. Hungry bellies in the sea, impact the water, the air quality can't even breathe. So Father, we come.
Jay Douglas, it's good to see you, my friend. It's been a while, but certainly well worth the wait. How are you?
I'm great. It's good to see you too, and good to hear you, man. It's been a long time, and
Yeah,
I'm
it has.
happy about today because oftentimes I think about you and I said, wow, I hope the brother don't forget, not forgetting about
Oh.
Jay. So it's good to hear you, man. And,
I did not forget you, and congratulations. The documentary is getting rave reviews. People love it, and I'm telling you, it is so entertaining. I don't care what kind of music, fan of music you are, music that what is your favorite type of music. This has historical significance to it, and if you want to know more about how this city evolved musically, you gotta watch and listen to Play It Loud, How Toronto Got Soul, because it's all in there. How did that come to be? Whose idea was it?
thanks to the promoter, the producer, Andrew Munger, and the director, Graham Matheson. 3 years ago, Andrew Munger, the producer, called me and says, J. Douglas, my name is Andrew Munger and I'm a producer. I'd like to do a documentary on your life story with the music. Has anyone approached you? And I said, no, I'm happy to hear you, but right off the top, I have to ask you a question. No kidding. He said, what is that? I said, if we were to do this documentary, what's in it for the young generation, the kids? And he was taken off guard and gave me a little answer. And then he says, well, we're going to meet and have lunch. We can talk some more. So 2 years ago when we were in Jamaica, where I went to school, kindergarten and primary school, and took me there to do some filming. And in the middle of those shoots, it was so great to see the kids in their uniform, little kids all over us. They didn't care about the camera and everything. One kid said he wanted money for ice cream right in the middle of the shoot, so I had to give him some money and everything. But at the end of the day, we went to supper, and the producer, Andrew Munger, said, Jay, you remember when I called you first, you asked me about this documentary, you asked me about what's in it for the kids? He said, well, after today, what I saw and experienced, I want to let you know that we share your sentiments. And that was just what I wanted to hear.
That's great to hear. Talk about growing up in Montego Bay, and you talk about how the culture was that each child really was raised by the village. Everybody worked together. It was a very strong community.
Yes, those days, not just the biological appearance, but the whole community, the village, had a say in how we was raised. And that was good because it got us ready for the future, for today. Because, Ted, in those early times when we had to have respect for ourselves and others and the elders, we we had to be, I mean, in tune with what's happening. For example, our neighbors and the people in the community. Good morning, Mr. Smith. Good morning, Mr. Ted. Yes, sir. That kind of respect.
Yes.
And it brought us a long way up until today.
Mm-hmm. And music was a big part of your life growing up, as it was in the community for all children.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I think I was conceived in music. No, really, yeah. And, sing a song. And in schools, after lunch, we go back into classroom. On Sunday afternoon, the teachers would take us outside under the mango tree in the schoolyard, and we would be singing, having a joyful, happy day. And as you know, today, music is the only international language of love and joy. It transcends the boundary.
Yes. Your upbringing, you were raised by a teenage mother, which
Yes,
was
sir.
a difficult thing for her at the time. And at one point, she decided, well, it's time for me to leave to find better opportunities for my children, because we have 4 children in the family, 4 or 5?
4.
Four,
2
four
girls
children.
and 2 boys.
And so she came and she left and came to Toronto, and knowing that there's no way they were going to let her into the country, a single young teenage woman with 4 children. So she came on her own with hopes of bringing you and your siblings to Toronto some years later, correct?
Well, she had to do a certain test to get accepted. And the word lie is a little strong, but she had to deny that she did not have any kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how she got selected.
Right.
Then she brought her brothers. And after that, I'm the first of 4 kids to come to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I came, she sat me down and she started to drill me and question me what I have for the future and everything. That's where I said, I want to buy some chubby checker shoes and suits and everything. And she just took her time and she looked at me. She said, do you have what to command a salary for all that chubby checker stuff you talking about? And she made sure she fed me bacon and eggs and everything while she's talking to me. While I'm eating, I go, when she asked me the question, I go, And she said, what was that? So I called her and I said, pardon me? She said, that's better. She says, well, let me tell you this. You're going to need a decent education. You will need to go back to school. So my good friend who I met at the time, Henry Naylor, told me about Central Tech.
Right.
So by the next Monday, I was at Central Tech. My uncle took me. We got registered, and that's where it started. And I'm grateful to my mother, Noreen, for that little bit of vision at that time.
Did not surprise you with a guitar when you came to Toronto?
Yes. She had a guitar waiting for me.
Yeah,
and I still have that guitar today.
You do?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
I have that guitar, and what a gift.
Was that the first instrument that you learned to play in Montego Bay?
Well, I want to tell you the truth. I didn't have a guitar in Montego Bay, but I saw others. I was moved when I came and she had a guitar. That's my first guitar.
And that's where you learned to play. But you were involved musically in Jamaica growing up as a young kid. What, in the church choir and in various bands as well?
In the church choir and in the school where I attended, but more so in vocal lessons and singing, gospel, and starting to sing the American blues, the American R&B.
Right.
Only to find out now that what we're doing today, Ted, ska, rocksteady reggae, blues, hip hop, R&B, jazz, all came from the blues out of New Orleans. So they're all connected.
Right.
Yeah. Just like how you and I are connected spiritually.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. You there was somebody who played a major role in your life, a gentleman by the name of Coxsone Dodd.
Yes.
Who was known to either make or break a musician's career. How did he come about possessing that kind of power and that kind of influence?
Well, let's put it this way. Coxsone Dodd It's a very interesting story. Studio One, the Berry Gordy of Jamaica. In his early years, he loved the music. And he got selected to go to United States as a farm worker in Florida, working the cane plantation, all those crops. But while he was there, he purchased some records, those early 78, but they weren't vinyl, but they were American blues songs. And he purchased a small recording machine, like a 2-track, whatever, tape machine. And at the end of his service in the farm working, he came home to Jamaica and he started his own little sound system. And that sound system was called Sir Coxson's Downbeat, Coxsone Dod. And by doing so, he went on to start indulging recordings because they were looking for more music in Jamaica after getting so much blues from the United States. So he went into his own recording, and soon after, he owned a studio, which was called Studio One. And the interesting thing with these sound system owners in Jamaica, they not only own sound system, but they would produce artists, young artists, and have them on their label. And they go forward like the Wailers, Bob Marley, all these guys. They started out with Coxsone Dod, Studio One. They started out with Studio One, and because of that, it led to. Sorry about the phone.
That's okay. We have that. That happens almost every week now on the show. It's really quite amazing.
Oh, it's your phone.
No, it's not.
Is
But
it?
that's okay. Don't worry about it. So
Yeah.
Coxon was in. He's in Kingston, Jamaica at this point, and you come in to see him, and he is impressed in what way?
At the time I was living in East Kingston, that's called Rockforth. After moving from Montego Bay to Kingston, from Montego Bay, I just had a certain interest. I was crazy about the music. We just heard about Coxsone sound system, Duke Reed, the Trojan. When I went to Kingston, on the radio, you hear all these music, and it's in my head. One day I wanted to go and record. So I could just barely find myself a bus fare to go on the other side of Kingston to Studio One at Brentford Road. So I went there on a Sunday afternoon. This is when he auditioned, singers. So I got there early that afternoon, and that's when he asked me why I'm here. I said, I'd like to do some recording, and he put me, it was outside in the open yard, hot July at summer. And he said, sing, let me hear what you have. No backup, nothing. My goodness. So I sang my little, pick up your feathers, have a good time, the blues scat. And he listened and he liked it. And he said to me, I want you to come back tomorrow morning, which was a Monday morning. That means I got accepted to go record. And right after me, guess who? Woo! The Wailers with Bob Marley.
Wow.
Bob Marley, Bunny Livingston, who's known as Bunny Wailer, Peter McIntosh, which is Peter Tosh.
Right.
And Brathwaite, that's the other singer. He was the lead singer of the group. Juno Brathwaite and a young lady by the name of Beverly. They were the Wailers. And Ted, take it from J. Douglas. When they kicked off with Simmer Down, all hell pop loose. Even in the Bob Marley movie, they didn't tell that part right. When they kicked off with Simmer Down, Bob Marley wrote that song, his first big hit. And the rest is history, my brother. Take it from me. He didn't have time to even let me record.
Did you know Bob Marley well? Did you get to know him well?
With that experience, yeah, I wouldn't say well, but we met. I hung out with them for a couple of days at Studio One and saw what happened with the studio band, the Scatterlights. That's where Jackie Me Too started, in that studio band. The great Don Drummond, Roland Alfonso, all those cats. And then after that, later on in the year 1964, that's when I came to Canada. to my mom. For so many years, 1970, I think it's 72, 73, when the Wailers came. I went to the airport to pick up my uncle coming back from Jamaica. And that's when I saw Bob, because my uncle was very upset with all these Rastafarians coming up on the plane. So I said, "What's wrong, uncle?" He said, "Look at all those Rasta guys come up on the plane. They're disgusted." So I said, "Which one? Who are they?" He said, "There's one of them." I said, "You know who that is? That's Bob Marley, my uncle." He said, "You got to be kidding." I said, "That's Bob Marley." So I went over to Bob and introduced myself, and we spoke and start reminiscing about the experience we had at Studio One and our first encounter. And we talked for a while.
Ted Woloshyn returns in a moment.
I've had the great fortune to say that I've been associated with one of Toronto's finest names in men's clothing for more than 25 years. Tom's Place. Founded by Tom Mahalick's father in 1958, Tom's Place offers brand name men's apparel at unbeatable prices. But more than that, they boast a long-serving, knowledgeable, and friendly staff that can assist you whether you're looking for casual or formal attire. And they have plenty of first-class tailors on site. In addition, Tom and his family are well known for their philanthropic work. So if you're looking to deal with great people who can fulfill your clothing desires at outstanding prices, do yourself a favor and visit Tom's Place. They're open weekdays from 11 to 6, Saturdays 10 to 5, and Sundays noon to 5. You'll find Tom's Place at 190 Baldwin in the heart of Kensington Market. Or check them out online at toms-place.com. Tom's Place will suit you.
Now back to Ted Woloshyn.
Jah will be always there. Trample the eagle, the ark, the dragon, and the bear. That song you have gone clear. J. Douglas, sing for them at them here. Let's get it.
Some of them they holler, some of them they ball. Jaja children never gonna fall.
Never.
Some of them they holler, some of them they ball. Jaja children never stand tall.
When you first came to Toronto, let's think back here for try to paint a picture for people who weren't maybe around at that time. 1964. What did the music scene look like for black performers in this city?
Well, the music scene, 1964, when I came, well, there was some things happening with black artists like Sean and Jay Jackson, Jack Hardin, the Tiaras, which Jackie Richardson, Colina Phillips, Brenda Russell, those artists, Eric Mercury. But there was not much happening for the Caribbean music, the ska, rocksteady, reggae. There wasn't much happening until we came along, thanks to the record stores that were here up in Eglinton that were selling records from Jamaica. But then I was a student at Central Tech, and I got an opportunity to audition with this band at the West Indian Federation Club on a Sunday afternoon. I was asked to show up there, and I auditioned to be the lead singer of the Cougars. So that started. Cougars, of course, the drummer was Everton Pablo Paul and Carl Mullins and other great musicians, Dizzy Barker, Light Spence and others. So being a member of the Cougars now, we started to play in the community, like the West Indian Federation Club, which is known as the WIF Club. That was a college in Brunswick Avenue. And it started there, and we just started to spread the news of the community, and it just keep on growing, into banquets until it wasn't enough, and we decided to hit the Young Street Trail.
But it was a tough time because you couldn't get the airtime. The radio stations weren't playing ska. They weren't playing reggae music at the time.
Oh, no. The radio station, mainstream station, no. And we would call and ask to play, and they would come right up and tell you they're not playing that kind of music. They don't play that, and that was not easy. So we had to tune into Buffalo for LK.
Right.
Yeah. But I tell you one thing, after the years passed, the mainstream station then, CFRB, right across Canada, started to play reggae music, when the CTL did some collaboration with the great Jackie Me Too.
Mhm.
And Jackie Me Too put a bow tie on the reggae and did some reggae with Vic Franklin from Hamilton.
Wow.
Yes, Perfidia is one of them, and it was nicely done, but in an orchestration form. And CFRB played it, and it went across Canada. So give kudos to CFRB.
Wow. Carabana, 1967, meaningful time for you. It was our centennial,
Yes,
and your band is asked to perform 2 anthems. Share that story.
that story is interesting. Carabana, we were asked to perform at Center Island because those days Carabana went down Young Street and party all day, and in the evening they take the ferry and go over to Center Island for the grandstand show to wrap up the day. So we were asked to play, but when we got there, a little bit of politics came into the music that was not nice. And as I said, I don't like politics in a lot of things, especially the music. So they put us on a stage, which was not the main stage, was a side stage. But when they found out that the Governor General from Jamaica is heading to the festival at Central Island to officially declare an opening for Carabana, they needed a band who could play both anthem, Jamaica and the Caribbean and the Canadian anthem. So the only band that was able to do that was the Cougars. So they had to all line up and grab our instrument fast and take us on the main stage. And we did it. And from there on, we never play any other stage but the main stage.
That's an interesting story, to when you think that everybody gets, I shouldn't say everybody, but many musicians will tell you that they had one break that sort of propelled them to a different level. And in your case, it was the singing of two national anthems.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a story.
And that's what the music does for us until today. It transcends the boundary. Even in the institutions now, the health institution, name it, it's a healing force. We need the music. It does wonders. Last week, I was back at my school, Central Tech, and to see the kids, I was back there to show the screening of Play It Loud. It was an amazing experience,
I guess.
with those young people.
When you think back now of the time when you first came to Toronto and then the music scene started changing, why do you suppose that people in Toronto accepted? Why were they so accepting of a new type of music for them? Well, why did R&B and reggae explode in Toronto like it didn't in other cities?
Because the population has grown. Every day becomes a new day. And of course, we have to change our thinking in life's journey.
But back then, why was Toronto one of the first cities that welcomed reggae music in because at one point it was like if you wanted to hear reggae music in this country, really Toronto was the place to go.
Yes.
And it
but
wasn't
then
just because of the population base.
No, it wouldn't say population based, but then a lot of the campus stations, thank God, U of T, which is CIUT,
Right.
we had Ryerson, then
Sure.
CKLN, we had CHRY up in York. They were, thank God for those, it's a great question.
And I'm glad you answered that. And I was hoping that you'd go that path because we're looking right now at seeing so many of these radio stations closing up their broadcasting courses and closing down their radio stations. And people don't realize that those are not just stations for 500 people who are on campus. Breed people, they breed announcers, they breed various types of talent that's needed to put on a broadcast facility, and they also breed the music that's feeding that facility as well.
That's right. And also, we cannot forget all those DJs. Some work at the college campus station, but some of them, they have their own sound system, and they did a lot of boost camp parties and different functions. And up until today, those guys are still out there beating the pavement with their music. And it spreads. It spread.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
When you won your first Juno Award,
No, I'm sorry. I was nominated.
When you were first nominated, I should say, I should point that out that you were nominated 3 times. When you were first nominated for a Juno Award, what did that mean to you?
Means a hell of a lot. And because at the time, there was a producer who produced me for years, Bernie Pitters. And he toured and played with Toots and the Maytals for 13 years. And he brought all that experience back in. He produced my early reggae, ska, and rocksteady. And that year we got nominated. He and I produced a young female artist by the name of Tanya Mullins. And she's the daughter of Carl Mullins. And that track, we produced her, and that's how we got our first nomination. We had to go to Newfoundland at the time for the Juno. That's when I got the opportunity to meet Drake, and Justin Bieber was there too as a young kid. And we went there when there was a problem with the planes couldn't land because there was a weather condition, a pollution factor. When I forgot what was the, but anyway,
Was it a hurricane that had erupted somewhere that where the wind?
somewhere, but it was it was causing visibility problem.
Yeah.
And my first time in Newfoundland, and when we arrived, I arrived there in Newfoundland at about 3:30 in the morning, and I rented a room to stay from a lady which I didn't know. She left a message on the door, says, "Welcome. I couldn't wait up for you anymore. I left the door open for you. Come on in and make it." I said, "Wow, this is Newfoundland." No
Yeah.
kidding.
Yeah.
So that was a great experience.
What year was that?
I
Approximately.
approximately, I think, 2009 or 2008. That's the year Dubmatics won it. Yeah.
Newfoundland, of course, had already shown their hospitality to the world in 2001 after 9/11, and all those flights were diverted to Gander, Newfoundland, right? And their doors were wide open for people that they'd never met in their lives. 24 hours
Yes.
coming in and out of their homes, right?
And they had an amazing premier at the time. He was doing some good things. Then he retired. I forget his name. Sorry.
What are your thoughts when you look at the music scene today with the introduction of AI, for example, and streaming and how the music industry has changed just in the past 5 to 10 years? Are you positive in the direction that it's taking, or are you sort of somewhat skeptical, as most people are?
I wouldn't say skeptical. I have concerns, and thank you for asking. And, my brother Ted, and I have to even be careful how I answer your question, because we're in an age now where a lot of us are not embracing truth. We are embracing what we like or who we love. We're supposed to be living in an age where the spirit of truth matters. Substance, morals, reality, music. It's not me. It's not mine. I'm just a messenger for peace and love. We need to respect the boundaries and borders. Teach the young people the truth. Teach them well. They are the gem of the future. And as Bob Marley said in one of his songs, in the abundance of water, the full diet of thirst. That's very profound.
It is.
It is.
It is.
We don't need to cross our values. We don't need to let that male ego get in the way. And I'm a man. We need to look into the truth. We have we live in one of the greatest country in the world. This great country of ours, natural resources on top, great talents. When I go abroad and I said, I'm from Canada, sometimes I get standing ovation. What a great country, great talent. Look what the talents over the years has done abroad. Celine, all of these talents. I am blessed with my own band, J. Douglas and the All-Stars. The institutions put out some of the best playing talent, and hoping and wish I can do more for them. Because
Go ahead. No, I didn't mean to interrupt you there.
they deserve the best. Great country. And we need to leave the politics out of God's music.
Yes, I agree that 100%. We also need to tell people who make up Jay Douglas and the All-Stars. Who are the members of that band? Well, you mentioned
Original member, Everton
you
Pablo
mentioned.
Paul. Everton Pablo Paul from the Cougars.
I love
We're still
Pablo.
playing. You all can see us at the Redwood and the 12th of April. David Deloney's in the band. Bobby Shue, Mickey, two beautiful female artists, Winda Colette Easy, the guitar player Mickey, the bass player Nemo, just great players, man, great players, and we're looking forward to and also a lot of times I do a lot of work with another great producer of mine, Eddie Bullen, man, great producer. We play all the time. Last year we did Kerner Hall with Monty Alexander, but we're still spreading the message of peace and love because the music transcends the boundaries.
Yeah. So you're playing on the 12th of April at the Redwood Theater, the 25th of April at the Old Mill.
Yes, sir.
Can I ask you, how old are you now?
Many moons.
You're not a woman. I can ask you that.
Yeah, many moons.
Okay, but
Many moons. Put it this way.
It's good for people to know that because you're an inspiration.
It is. Thank you. But I would prefer if you ask me if I'm healthy.
Well, I know you're healthy because I can see you. You look great.
Yeah.
You sound great, and you're gigging, right? So you got to be fairly healthy, right?
Because health is wealth. It is first and most. You know why I don't say my age? Because we as a people, we spend too much time. I don't mind playing the numbers for the lottery, but we spend too much time worrying about numbers. Oh, man, let's eat and be merry and have fun, man. Leave the numbers. I'm not being rude, man, but we need to put energy into health.
No, that's fine. We'll leave it at that and let people try to figure this out on their own. But we should let people know again that it's April the 11th at the Redwood Theater, the 25th of April at the Old Mill. If you'd like to see the documentary "Play It Loud: How Toronto Got Soul," you can do so. It is available on TVO on their YouTube channel. So you can pick it up for free and sit there, enjoy it, and you will enjoy it, and you will learn an awful lot from it. You'll walk away with a big smile on your face because reggae music tends to do that. At least it does to me anyway.
Thank you, man. And I love what you do, man. And also, I'm looking forward to hang out with Bill King at the Redwood, man. And thanks to Eric Alper. I hope you're going to be there, Ted.
I'd love to, man. It's always a pleasure chatting with you and seeing you as well. Jay Douglas, all the best, my friend. God bless you, man.
God bless you. Thank you.
That's going to do it for another edition of the Ted Woloshyn Podcast. Thanks for tuning in. Go to our website, www.tedwoloshyn.ca. Leave your comments and your questions. You can check out our past episodes as well. And don't forget, we are on YouTube now. So if you check us out on YouTube, make sure you subscribe. It's absolutely free, as is your opportunity to fill out your organ and tissue donation card. Do so because you could change your life and even save a life. In the meantime, have a great week.
The Ted Woloshyn Podcast has been brought to you by Tom's Place. For the finest in men's clothing at unbeatable prices, it's Tom's Place at 190 Baldwin in the heart of Kensington Market. Tom's Place will suit you. And ETP Canada, providing estate administration with ease. Technical production by Paul Gadd. Music by Bike Thieves. For more on this podcast and our sponsors, and to talk to Ted, go to www.tedwoloshyn.ca.